Hey, what's up everybody? Eternal Fire here, and today we're going to be going over the Demon Hunters live on servers. By now, most of us have a level 100 Demon Hunter, but we're going to be taking a look at the pertinent abilities in the spellbook for Havoc, and we're going to talk about Vengeance. We're going to start with Havoc, we're going to move on to Vengeance when we're done. We're going to be talking about the single and AoE target rotations, we're going to talk about the build you want to have, the stat priorities, and we're also going to take a quick look at some of the pertinent abilities in the spellbook. With that said, let's get into the spellbook. First, we have Blade Dance. It's an AoE ability. It's on an 8.4 second cooldown. It costs 35 Fury. Strike all nearby enemies for physical damage and increase your chance to dodge by 100% for 1 whole second. Then we have Chaos Strike. It's your main Fury dumping ability for single target. It's a slice your target for chaos damage. Critical strikes refund 20 Fury. So with that said, critical strike is going to be your primary, secondary stat. So it's you're wearing leather gear, you have agility on everything, and then critical strike is going to be your main because of this. The more critical strikes you get, basically the more uptime you're going to have on chaos strikes, the higher your damage is going to end up being. So you want to have critical strike and then versatility, and then I believe haste and mastery. And then we have Demon's Bite. It's an instant ability. It doesn't cost anything to use. It quickly attacks for physical damage, generates 20 to 30 Fury. So this is your Fury generating ability, and we're going to talk about that a little bit in the talent tree when we go over it, because you can choose to remove this and make it a passive ability with your auto attacks, but we'll talk about that later. Then we have Eye Beam. This is one of your main AoE abilities. It's costs 50 Fury. It's a channeled ability on a 45-second cooldown. Blasts all enemies directly in front of you for chaos damage. Eye Beam always critically strikes. Then you have Fell Rush. It's an instant ability with a 10-second recharge. You have 2 charges. Rush forward, incinerating anything in your path for chaos damage. Generates 25 Fury if you damage an enemy. And that comes from the talent Fell Mastery. Fell Mastery is a passive in the talent tree, increases Fell Rush damage by 50% and grants 25 Fury when Fell Rush damages at least one target. So that's where you get the 25 Fury from when you look at this ability. Otherwise, it just does damage and doesn't generate Fury without Fell Mastery talent taken. Then we have Metamorphosis. This is our damage cooldown. It's on a 5-minute cooldown. Instant ability. Leap into the air and land with explosive force, dealing chaos damage to enemies within 8 yards and stunning them for 3 seconds. Upon landing, you are transformed into a hellish demon for 30 seconds, greatly empowering your Chaos Strike and Blade Dance abilities and gaining 25% haste. And then you have Throw Glaive. It's a ranged ability you can use, I guess, if you can't reach your target or you need to pull it to you. Then we have Vengeful Retreat. It's an instant ability on a 15-second cooldown. Viciously assault nearby enemies and vault away. Assaulted enemies take physical damage and their movement speed reduced by 70% for 3 seconds. Generates 40 Fury over 5 seconds if you damaged an enemy. So again, when you generate Fury from using this ability, it's because I chose to take the talent in the 100 tier. Called Prepared. It's a passive, reduces a cooldown of Vengeful Retreat by 10 seconds and generates 40 Fury over 5 seconds if you damage at least one enemy with Vengeful Retreat. So we're going to talk about how I use these in the rotation I chose to use. I really don't like the other options here, unless in particular cases. Then you have Double Jump. We know what that is. Mastery Demonic Presence is a passive, increases your chaos damage by 21% and your movement speed by 21% based on your mastery that you have. And then Shattered Souls. Killing an enemy sometimes creates a soul fragment that is consumed when you approach it, healing you for 25% of maximum health. If the soul fragment came from a demon, you will deal 20% increased damage for 15 seconds. So those are basically the pertinent abilities in the spellbook. Now we're going to talk about the talent tree. So I chose Fell Mastery. You also have Chaos Cleave and Blind Fury. Blind Fury is a passive. It increases the duration of Eye Beam by 50%, which is one of your AoE abilities. So it increases the duration by 50%, but it only lasts for just a couple seconds, so it really doesn't make it that big. I mean, unless every 45 seconds when it's available, you know that the encounter you're doing is going to have a lot of AoE to deal out. It's just not an ability worth taking otherwise. And then we have Chaos Cleave. Say you're doing like a council boss or something, you can take this ability because it makes your Chaos Strike hit an additional target for 50% of the damage that's done on your primary target. So, that's something you could consider taking in certain encounters. Otherwise, in pretty much all circumstances, Fell Mastery is going to be better. I played around a lot with this, and I really didn't like Fell Mastery at first. It just felt like I was moving around too much. It was very chaotic, but the way I use it is with Prepared, and we'll go over that in the rotation. And then we have Demon Blades replaces Demon's Bite. So again, Demon's Bite is your Fury generating attack, and then Demon Blades makes it so your auto attacks have a 75% chance to deal additional shadow damage and generate Fury. I know Icy Veins says this is the way to go, but I tried playing with it, and I just found hitting this dummy and doing some practice runs that sometimes you'd be sitting there and your white hits wouldn't be generating Fury for seconds on end, and you're literally just sitting there doing white damage, and I didn't think it was fun. I didn't enjoy it. I didn't think it was fun. I felt like my DPS was lower than when I took Prepare instead. And then we have Demonic Appetite. It's another passive ability. Chaos Strikes has a chance to spawn a lesser soul fragment, and consuming any soul fragment grants 30 Fury. So that's a way you have a chance of getting a fragment that you could gain Fury from, where the rotation that I chose to take and kind of worked out uses Prepared to generate Fury using Vengeful Retreat. So what you want to do for your single target rotation is you're going to use your Fell Rush. Once you go in, you're going to build your Fury with Demon's Bite to 80 or higher, then you're going to dump that Fury into Chaos Strike. Once you dumped it, you're going to use your Vengeful Retreat and then Fell Rush back in, and that generates basically almost a whole bar of Fury. So then you can just immediately dump it into Chaos Strike, build it back up with your Demon's Bite, and then again dump it with Chaos Strike. The nice thing is every 15 seconds you can Vengeful Retreat away and use a Fell Rush, which is going to generate 40 plus 25 Fury. So you can do that every 15 seconds to basically generate almost a full bar of Fury for yourself. And in the meantime, you just use Demon's Bite to build 80 or more Fury and then dump it with Chaos Strike. So it's pretty easy, a lot of mobility. And the nice thing about it is in this rotation you're using Vengeful Retreat as a Fury generating and Fell Rush as a Fury generating ability. But you have two charges of Fell Rush. So with this build of a rotation, you're basically always going to have one charge of Fell Rush available in case you need to be moving, out of something or, to an add-on or whatever. So, you always have that extra charge of Fell Rush for mobility purposes, which is very nice and convenient to have. And then for the AoE target rotation, what you're going to want to do is prioritize I-Beam and Blade Dance. You also have Fell Rush, which is an AoE ability as well. So you're going to use I-Beam. It has a pretty big range. It hits all three dummies there. And then you're going to use your Blade Dance on cooldown. And then you can use your Fell Rush, which will hit, a large amount of targets in the path that you use it. And in the meantime, while those are on cooldown, you can just use your single target rotation as a filler in between your AoE abilities. So you just use your Demon's Bite and Chaos Strike, and then your Fell Rush when it's up, and your Blade Dance when it's up. So that is the AoE rotation. We're going to take a look at Vengeance, the tanking spec for the Demon Hunter. And we're just going to take a quick look at some of the abilities that you want to use to mitigate or avoid damage. First, you have Consume Magic as an interrupt, so you can interrupt a spell. You gain 50 Pain. Pain is the resource that Vengeance Demon Hunters use versus Havoc uses Fury. Then you have Demon Spikes. Surge with Fell Power, increasing your parry chance by 20% and reducing physical damage taken by 31% for 6 seconds. Then you have Empower Wards. Okay, so let's talk about Demon's Bite real quick. You have 2 charges of it, and you basically want to make sure that you always have 1 charge of Demon Spikes being used. You never want to be sitting at 2 charges of Demon Spikes, because then you're just wasting active mitigation that you could be using. It reduces the amount of damage you're taking, on top of the fact that it increases the chance of your chance to parry. So you never want to have just sitting on 2 charges of Demon Spikes unless there's a particular amount of damage that you're planning on having soon, where you're going to want to use both of those Demon Spikes back to back. But if it's any weight at all, you're just going to want to go ahead and use one of the charges. Then you have Empower Wards. Reduces magical damage taken by 30% for 6 seconds. So this is something you're going to want to use. It's only on a 20-second cooldown, so you can use it often. And so, if you see somebody casting a spell, or you're going to be taking a lot of magic damage, this is an ability you're going to want to use to mitigate damage instead of, say, demon spikes, because demon spikes just mitigates physical damage, so empower wards would be the alternative. Then you have fiery brand. It's an instant ability on a 1-minute cooldown. Brand an enemy with a demonic symbol, instantly dealing fire damage and reducing the damage they do to you by 40% for 8 seconds. So this is something you're going to use, like say you're on a boss fight, a really heavy hit is coming, something that could potentially be lethal. This is something you're going to want to put on the enemy because it does damage to them, but it also, this is not a buff on you, this is a debuff on the target. So whatever target you put it on is the target that's going to do 40% less damage to you. It's not like a shield wall that a warrior has where it just reduces all damage. It just reduces the damage to the target you put it on. So singular. And then we have Immolation Aura. Engulf your enemy in flames, instantly causing fire damage to enemies within 8 yards and radiating fire damage every second, last 6 seconds. So then it generates 20 pain over 6 seconds. So you want to use this on cooldown. It's going to be generating pain, passively every 6 seconds. So you use that ability, you just start generating some pain there. Then we have Infernal Strikes. Leap through the air toward a targeted location, dealing fire damage to all enemies within 6 yards. And what that looks like is, we're going to zoom out so we can see the whole effect. Charge forward and you just kind of slam the ground where you're at. You have 2 charges of it. Looks pretty cool. Turn into a demon when you do it. And then you have Metamorphosis. Instead of it being a damage cooldown for Vengeance, it's an instant ability on a 3-minute cooldown versus 5. Transform to demon form for 15 seconds, increasing the maximum health, increasing current and maximum health by 30%. Generates 7 pain every 1 second. So if you get in a really sticky situation, you can pop this ability. It's going to increase your current and maximum health by 30%. And it's going to generate 7 pain every 1 second. So you're going to get to, be definitely making sure you have enough pain for demon spikes. You're going to have, enough pain for soul cleaves. So, hopefully while in the time that you use this for 15 seconds, you're going to be able to really pick yourself back up, if nothing else. And then you have Shear. It's your main pain generating ability. It generates 10 pain. Shears an enemy for physical damage and has a small chance to shatter a lesser soul fragment from your target that heals you for 18 health when consumed. Generates 10 pain. So this is going to be something you're going to be using this whenever nothing else is available. You want to spam this to, in between your soul cleaves and your demon spikes and Immolation Aura and Sigil of Flame. If those things are on cooldown, you're not using those yet, you're going to just be spamming Shear. Then you have Sigil of Flame. Places the Sigil of Flame at the target location and activates after 2 seconds, deals fire damage and an additional amount of fire damage over 6 seconds to all enemies affected by the sigil. So you put it down, you choose where you put it down, and then you pop it, and after 2 seconds it explodes, and now they're going to take damage over time, fire damage. Then you have Sigil of Misery. It's the same thing, but it's a fear. It'll feel the targets, it disorients them, not fears. Oh, they cower in fear, disoriented for 30 seconds. Then you have Sigil of Silence, which is really awesome. A good example would be something like an Auchindoun with all those little minion guys that cast that big damaging ability all at once. You put this down right in the middle of them, and after 2 seconds it will silence them. So make sure that their cast is not going to go off within 2 seconds or it's going to be too late. And then you have Soul Cleave. It costs 30 to 60 pain, so it's more powerful based on how much pain you use. The more the better, up to 60. Viciously strikes all enemies in front of you for up to X amount of physical damage and heal yourself based on pain spent. Consumes all soul fragments within 20 yards. So when you're hitting Shear and you're generating soul fragments, then you have 60 pain. You use Soul Cleave, it eats all those 60 pain, but it also heals you more based on how many fragments you have. So fragments are really important. When you get to level 110, you're going to have more abilities that generate fragments, and then you can take advantage with Soul Cleave and use those fragments to, get even more healing on yourself when you use Soul Cleave, because it pulls them all together. Then we have Throw Glaive. It generates high threat, and it's just a ranged ability. You throw your glaive, and that's basically it. It cleaves 2 other targets, so that's nice for, pulling trash and whatnot. Then Torment taunts the target to attack you, increasing threat that you generate against the target for 3 seconds. Then Mastery, Fellblood, Demon Spikes reduces physical damage taken by an additional 21.73%, or based on your Mastery, also increases your attack power by 21%. So with that said, again, you know, you have Leather, Agility on everything, and then your primary stats that you want to stack is going to be Mastery and Crit. Those are your big ones right there. It's going to be Mastery, Crit, Versatility, Haste. So, you know, the Havoc Demon Hunter is going to be Crit, Versatility, Haste, Mastery, and then the Vengeance Demon Hunter is going to be Mastery, Crit, Versatility, Haste. Then lastly, we have Shattered Souls. Killing a target will sometimes shatter their soul, leaving a soul fragment behind for 20 seconds. The soul fragment will be consumed when you approach it, healing you for X amount of health. Consuming a demon soul will grant you 20% increased damage for 15 seconds. So now we're going to look at the talents. It's nice because there's only 2 we can have, so it's not going to take long. Abyssal Strike, Agonizing Flame, Razor Spikes. Abyssal Strike, Infernal Strike's range is increased by 10 yards and its cooldown is reduced by 5 seconds. I find that I don't have any charge with my Infernal Strikes. You know, you have 2 charges. I find that whenever I need it, I always have at least 1 charge up for the most part, so I didn't choose to take that ability. Then we have Agonizing Flames. Immolation Aura increases your movement speed by 30% and deals 50% increased damage. So, you know, that's just nice. You're going to be using that on cooldown anyway. Pretty much no matter what you're doing, so you're just getting a damage increase and a speed buff at that. So then we have Razor Spikes. While Demon Spikes is active, you deal 20% increased physical damage and your melee attack snare targets by 50% for 6 seconds. So, you know, I like Agonizing Flames. That's what I went with. To be honest, it's a, you know, minor damage increase, and for the Vengeance Demon Hunter, you know, it's good to put out damage, but I found that it's really not that big of a difference there. Then we have Feast of Souls, Fallout, and Burning Alive. Feast of Souls is a passive ability. Soul Cleave heals you for an additional 28,000 over 6 seconds. So the thing I like about this, the reason I chose this ability, is because it's, you know, Fallout and Feast of Souls is something that's going to help you survive, where Burning Alive just does more damage with your fiery brand. And so with Feast of Souls, you're guaranteed a heal every time you use Soul Cleave. You get that hot every time you use Soul Cleave. So, you know, that talent gives you guaranteed extra healing. And then Fallout, Immolation Aura's initial burst has a chance to shatter lesser soul fragments from enemies. So you have a chance when you use Immolation Aura to get a soul fragment that you could use to, you know, heal yourself. When you use Soul Cleave versus Feast of Souls, you are guaranteed to get a heal. So basically what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to use your Infernal Strike to charge in, and then you're going to want to start building, you're going to want to dump Immolation Aura, you're going to want to put Sigil of Flame down, get your rotation going, and then you're going to want to use Shear. Once you have enough Shear to use Demon Spikes, you're going to make sure you always have at least 1 charge being used. And then you're just going to spam Shear and just be generating pain. And Immolation Aura on cooldown, Soul Cleave when you need to, you know, it hits all targets in front of you, so it's not only going to heal you, but it's an AoE, you know, hit. And then Demon Spikes, and it's pretty straightforward. Make sure you're hitting Immolation Aura and Sigil of Flame on cooldown. Make sure that, you know, you're dumping your pain into Soul Cleave. You always have 1 charge of Demon Spikes, you know, recharging, and then you're using Shear to generate pain. And then again, you have Empower Wards, which reduces magical damage, Demon Spikes, which reduces physical damage and increases your chance to parry, and then you have Fiery Brand, which you select the target, you put it on them, and now they have a debuff where they do 40% less damage to you over I think 8 seconds. Yeah, 8 seconds. So that is the Vengeance Demon Hunter right there. And then don't forget you have Metamorphosis, where you can really, you know, save yourself, because you're going to be generating pain very fast at that point. So that's the Vengeance Demon Hunter. That is the Havoc Demon Hunter. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, leave a like, comment, and subscribe.